Now, there are different forms of business ownership that you need to put into consideration at the initial stages of forming your business, because these forms of ownership in business will determine what structure your business will pick from the onset. So welcome to Imagine Business. My name is Jeff Kerr, and today we are going to be talking about forms of business ownership. Hello, welcome to Imagine Business. My name is Jeff Kerr, and today we are going to be talking about the different forms or types of business ownership. As earlier indicated in our previous video, we've been talking about different stages, or rather different processes that you need to take or you need to undergo when forming a new business. One of the key highlights that came out is the structure of your business. That is going to be forming basis of what we are going to be talking today, because the structure that your business takes is predetermined by the form in which you will end up operating in. So what are these forms of business ownership? Basically, there are four different types of business ownership. Number one, I would say we have sole proprietorship or sole proprietor. Then we have the partnership form of business. Thirdly, we have limited liability companies, alias known as LLC, or commonly known as LLC. And then fourthly, we have cooperatives. So I'm going to be talking about each and every one of them. So number one, we are going to be talking about the sole proprietorship. So who is a sole proprietor? A sole proprietor is basically somebody who owns a business by him or herself. Basically, this is a type of business that is not co-owned by anyone. It's your own idea, it's your original idea, and you are the overall owner of the entire idea. So if I'm deciding I want to form a business today, all the rights pertaining the business belong to me. So I'm the owner of the business is me, and I am the business. So basically, through the forming process of a sole proprietorship, all you require is your capital, of course the idea for your business, and some few legal parameters that you need to look into when you're forming. For instance, you need to declare that you're offering products or services that are legal, or rather you need to be operating legally. So for any country, for any state, for any nation, basically you will be required by law to obtain a license that will enable you operate your business. These are things like trading licenses and certificates of public health if you are into food processing and food manufacturing and all that kind of thing. So basically, there is nothing much into sole proprietorship as compared to these other forms of business ownership. So basically, a sole proprietorship is a business that you can do by your own self, as long as you have the capital and you have the idea. On to the advantages of this kind of business, other than it being a business that you are the sole owner of it requires actually less for you to begin operation. There is nothing much into it. And then the second thing is that as you begin, or rather throughout your business journey, you are the sole decision maker of everything that you want to do. So there is no third party or second party that you're going to involve in your business journey. So whatever you want to do is what your business is going to do. And of course, when it comes to profit, you enjoy all the profits. However, some of the common disadvantages with this kind of business, as a sole proprietor, you will have to bear all the losses and all the disadvantages that come with your business. Remember, your business is not a separate legal entities, as we'll be discussing in these other forms of businesses. So that means if your business, for instance, is going to face some kind of loss, you are the one who is actually going to be at loss, because you are the face of your business, and your business is actually, you are the business. So when the business is facing any challenges, you are on the receiving end, because you are the owner of the business. So I would say that is one of the main disadvantage of this kind of business. Other than that, most businesses begin as sole proprietors before they advance into these other forms of businesses. So the second form of business ownership that we are going to be talking about is the partnership form of business. So basically, between partnership and sole proprietorship, there is no much difference other than the fact that partnership is owned by more than one person. So basically, there is no much difference between partnership and a sole proprietor. I would say the only major difference is the ownership of the business. As the name suggests, a partnership is a form of business that is owned by more than one person. You can have two partners, you can have 3 partners, depending on how big you want your business to be. And basically, I would say there are 2 main categories of partnership. We have limited liability partners, or rather limited liability partnership and unlimited liability partnership. So what this means is in a limited liability partnership, it means since you are owning businesses, or you are owning this kind of business with other people, it means every person has to have their own roles. Every person has to have their own responsibilities. Every person is required to fulfill their own mandate as pertaining to what the initial agreement of the business is. So say if I'm partner 1, I go make a business deal and it goes south. It doesn't go according to plan, and the business ends up suffering, say, a loss. So what happens in a limited liability, in as much as we are in a partnership form of business, the person who negotiated that deal and brought a loss is the one who is going to suffer the loss alone. So these other partners are exempted from the losses that have been brought about by one partner. And as compared to unlimited liability kind of partnership, it's basically the opposite of a limited liability partnership. So in a unlimited liability partnership, from the onset, if I go to make a business deal and the business suffers any loss, we are in this together. So the same way we share profits is the same way we are going to share in the losses. So that is just to paint a picture between limited liability partnerships and unlimited liability partnership. Another key factor that you need to note in partnership form of business is that from the onset, when you agree this is the form your business is going to take, in partnership from the onset, you are supposed to declare that these are our responsibilities as partners. Partner A is going to be doing ABCD. Partner B is going to be doing ABCD. So basically, you're going to state what each one and every one of you is expected as a partner in that business. Another thing that you need to consider is another key factor for this kind of business ownership, I would say, just like the sole proprietorship, or rather just like a sole proprietor, a partnership form of business is not a separate legal entity as these other forms of businesses that we are going to be talking about are going to be. So the same way a sole proprietor is the face of the business, partners are the faces of their partnership in business. So that means in any case, if the business suffers in any way, the suffering will narrow down or trickle down to the partners. If the business suffers the losses, that means the partners are the ones who are responsible for everything. With advantages, I would say partnership forms of businesses don't necessarily pay business tax, because after you've made a sale as a business and the profit has come in and you've shared your profits as partners, each of you is required to file tax remittances just as any other individual would file. So you don't necessarily pay business tax as a business. And then another advantage, rather, I would say, is it might be easy for you people to form a partnership form of business, because there is equally less that goes into partnership as long as you've registered your business, you've highlighted the roles and responsibility of each and every partner into the business, and you know what is expected of you, and you are operating legally. There's really nothing much that goes on into partnership as long as you are doing something that is legal and you as partners understand your roles and responsibility. And also another advantage, I would say, it's easy to start because it involves more than one person. So basically what that means is, in case you want to raise capital, it is fast and quick. It's easy for you because you are not the only person that is contributing into the business. So you have other people that you are joining with them to form this kind of business. I would say the disadvantage comes in at the decision making process, because if I have an idea that I want to implement into my business or into the business, I will have to involve the other partners that I am owning the business with. So in case they don't buy my idea, then that means you are not going to implement it because you don't have their approval. Other than that, I would say, because it has unlimited liability, it means you are tied to everything that your business does. So whether it's a limited liability partnership or unlimited liability partnership, in any case, if something happens to the business, you are going to suffer the consequences as well. And then another disadvantage, I would say, in terms of termination, depending on the initial agreement that you had as partners, in case one partner exits, then that means the chances of your business collapsing is also high. So if the agreement was in case of an exit of one partner, then we dissolve the business, then that would be the end of your business. So that's it with partnership. And then on to the third form of business ownership, we are going to be talking about limited liability company. A limited liability company is also called an LLC. So a limited liability company, or LLC, is a type of business ownership, or rather business structure, that is preferred mostly by people who want to separate themselves from the business. What that basically means, it means that your business, or you register your business as a separate legal entity. So in simple terms, that means your business exists as a person, the same way you exist as a business owner, or you as the director of the business. Your private life, or rather your private property, is separated from what your business owns. So basically, you operate as two. Your business has its own dealings, you have your own dealings. So this is a form of business ownership that is majorly preferred by people who want to separate themselves from the operations of the business. Yes, you own the business is yours, all the ideas, you're the one running it, but in case of any legal disagreement or challenge whatsoever, your business is the one that is going to handle, or rather to face the law, and not you as the owner of the business. So that means your property, in case of anything, say bankruptcy, is protected from the business. So nobody will come and interfere with your personal property that is not registered under your business. So basically, that is what a limited liability company, or an LLC, is all about. Another thing to note, just like a partnership form of business, an LLC, or a limited liability company, you'll also need to declare how many members you are owning the business. You need to declare what are your responsibilities, what are your roles, and declare a purpose statement for the existence of your business. Why are you coming to business? What are you going to be offering? Where are you going to be located? So this is going to actually involve a lot of paperwork and a lot of process in the formation stage, because you need to be accountable for what is going to be happening in your business. Remember, this is a business that is operating on its own as a separate legal entity. So definitely you'll have a lot of things to approve of and a lot of things to declare in the formation stage of your business. So after that is said and done, definitely you are free to start your operation as a business. And in case of anything, or rather in case of any changes, including changes in addresses and everything, you need to update your records and declare that yes, we were operating in town A, but now we've shifted in town B. So in your records, you're supposed to always update any changes that happen in your limited liability company. And then another thing, you also need to part of the information that you provide legally is the information about the members. And when I say information, I mean every detail about the member, what their names are, their location, what they do in the business, and everything. If somebody, say a legal practitioner, comes and goes through your papers, they are able to know where to find each and every one of you. They are able to see your roles and responsibilities in the business. For the advantages and the disadvantages, I would say, first of all, for advantages, in a limited liability company, one of the main advantages, of course, is the fact that it operates as a separate legal entity. For the advantages and the disadvantages, I would say the main advantage in a limited liability company, or an LLC, is the fact that it operates as a separate legal entity. And by now you already know that whatever the business transacts in its name, the owners of the businesses are not dragged into that. So the business operates as a separate legal entity. Another advantage is the fact that, for disadvantages, I would say definitely you'll have long decision-making process, because there's more than one person involved in the business, just like a partnership form of business. Then another disadvantage, I would say the formation process is quite long, because there's a lot of paperwork that you need to do and approve for you to be allowed to operate. So that's it with LLC, or a limited liability company. The fourth and the last one, we are going to be talking about cooperatives. Now, what is a cooperative? Basically, a cooperative is a form of business ownership that is owned by people who directly benefit from it. Say we work in a company, we are the people who benefit from that company. We are all employees of that company. So we form a cooperative that will be registered as a form of business, and we are members of that cooperative that we are going to be benefiting from, probably for us to access easy loans, for us to access better services, better government services at cheaper rates, say, for instance. Basically, a cooperative is formed by members that benefit from it. And how cooperatives operate, it is managed by a board of directors that are elected by its members. It is important to note that in any stage of decision making, the members that belong in that cooperative are involved in all the decision making process. And then when it comes to business now, as a business, when you are a cooperative and you make profits, definitely you have shareholders. So the profit is distributed across the shareholders and members depending on how much shares you have in the cooperative. Another thing to note at this point is also that cooperatives operate as separate legal entities. So just like limited liability companies, cooperatives are registered separately from the owners. And at this point, it is important to also note that there is no limit to how many members a cooperative can have. And that equally means there is no limit to amount of shareholders that a cooperative might have. So depending on how big your cooperative is, as long as you have registered it as a business, as a cooperative form of business, it doesn't have limits to amount of members and amount of shareholders that it can have. So that's it about cooperatives, and that's it about today's video on different forms or types of business ownership. I hope you learned something. If you did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on the post notification bell so you don't miss our next video. And in case you haven't checked out our previous video, we were talking about the different processes and stages that you go through when forming a business. I believe you learn a thing or two from it, so stay tuned for the next video.